Okay, this is a continuation of 5A.3, but this time we're going to move on to synthetic division. Synthetic division can be, you can use that for anything you're doing before, but here's the deal. If you have anything but a 1 on in the lead term of the divisor, you're going to be dealing with all kinds of weird fractions. So my recommendation is the coefficient of the divisor, what we're dividing by, must be a 1. Otherwise, use long division. Number 7, this is a continuation, is going to be x to the third minus 4x squared plus 6x minus 4. And we're going to take that whole group, and we're going to divide it by x minus 2. Again, if you look at what we're dividing by, the divisor, the lead coefficient is a 1. And so that's okay. Now what we want to do is, this is called synthetic division. We are going to take what's in our divisor and we're going to say, well, how would that equal 0? What would x have to be to make that 0? And in this case, the x would have to be a 2. So that's what's going to go in our little box here. And this is how you do it, okay? So write your little box, put the 2 in there for your x. Then you're going to take the coefficient of each of the what you're dividing into. So x to the third has a coefficient of 1. So we write a 1. X squared has a coefficient of -4. X has a coefficient of 6. And -4 just goes on the end. Okay? Our last thing, wow, that's supposed to be a straight line. Let's try that again. Probably not going to be any better, but, oh, much better. Our last one there is going to be our remainder. So I always draw a line there to remind myself that's the remainder. First step is to bring down the first number. I have people that get that wrong every year. And if you don't do that first step right, you're going to get the whole thing wrong. So you bring down your 1. You're going to take the 2 and you're going to multiply it by that 1. So 2 times 1 is 2, and it gets written there underneath the 4, -4. I just realized I did this problem wrong. -4 plus 2 is -2. We do the same thing again. 2 times -2 is -4. Add those together. You're going to get a 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Add those together. That means we have a remainder of 0. This one works out nicely. Now what we did was we divided by x to the first, which means we got rid of x to the third, and we simplified this down to x squared. So these are now our new coefficients that start with x squared. So it's going to be 1 x squared. And the reason it's x squared, it's 1 less than what we originally started with. Okay, we originally started with x to the third, so we go down 1. Minus, and then we just go down from there. 2x plus 2. There's no remainder, and so that's our answer. A little bit different than long division. Works really well if the coefficient of the divisor, the lead coefficient of the divisor, is 1. It does work if the lead coefficient of the divisor is not 1. It's just you're going to deal with tons of fractions, and so we usually use long division to avoid that. Okay? So let's go to number 8. Number 8 is t to the third minus 6t squared plus 1 divided by t plus 2. Now I'm hoping that you immediately notice that in the first group, t is missing. Just like in long division, we have to put a 0 there to indicate that there is no t. First thing we have to do is look at what our divisor, what would make that divisor 0? It's going to be -2. So that's what goes in our box, -2. And then we write down the coefficients of each of the t's, or the variables. Well, t to the third is 1. Then we have t squared, that's -6. We are missing a t, just a plain old t to the first, so we put a 0. And then we put our 1. This would be where our remainder is, if there is one. We bring down. First step, always bring down first. That's going to be a 1. 1 times -2 is -2. Add them together is -8. -2 times -8 is positive 16. Bring that down. Positive 16 times a -2 is a -32. -32 plus 1 is -31. So again, we reduce this by 1 exponent. So we started with an exponent of t to the third. Since we divided by t to the first, our lead one now is going to be 1t squared, and we just follow down. Minus 8t plus 16. Now, just like in long division, if you have a remainder, you're going to add that on the end, and you're going to put the denominator of what we originally were dividing by, which was t plus 2. And that is the answer to that one. You don't need the 1 in front of the t squared. In fact, if I was asked for most simplest form, you shouldn't have the 1 in front of the t squared. It's not wrong, it's just not as simple as it could be. Let's do one more synthetic division. Number 3. I don't like this. Hold on. Okay. Number 3 is x to the 5th minus 7x to the 3rd, and you should already see we're missing a piece there, so we're going to have to do some zeros here, plus x plus 1, all divided by, this means the same thing, we're still dividing, by x plus 3. Now again, x plus 3 is what we're dividing by, so what does x have to be to make that divisor go to 0? That's what goes in our box. So we put a negative 3 here. And we write our coefficients down, putting zeros if we're missing any. So in this case, we have a 1 for the x to the 5th. There is no x to the 4th, so I put a 0. There is an x to the 3rd, that's negative 7. There's no x squared, so I have to put a 0. X to the 1st has a 1 in front of it. And then our final constant is 1. Okay, over here is where we'd have a remainder if we have one. Bring down the 1. Multiply negative 3 times 1, negative 3. Add the 0 and negative 3, negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Negative 7 plus 9, positive 2. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. 0 and negative 6 is negative 6. Negative 3 times negative 6 is positive 18. Add that to a 1 is 19. Negative 3 times 19 is negative 57, so we have an ugly remainder of negative 56. Again, we reduce our exponents by 1. We started with x to the 5th, so now we have x to the 4th. So we have 1x to the 4th, and then we just follow the pattern down, minus 3x to the 3rd, plus 2x squared, minus 6x, plus 19, plus our remainder over our original divisor, which was x plus 3. And that's my final answer for that. None of this is pretty, but that's long division and synthetic division. Please let me know if you have any questions.